I feel like I say this every single book haul, but somebody needs to make me go on a book buying ban because this is just ridiculous. I love buying books. I can't stop myself. And when I see them for a good price, either at a secondhand store or book outlet or anything like that, I just end up buying them. I'm sorry. I don't even know how many books I have here to show you. Probably at least 30 to 40. And it's a variety of genres, a lot of like horror-y thriller vibes. But I think I'm just gonna start with my small stack of romance that I have right next to me because it's the closest pile and Awen is on my lap and I don't want to bother her. So we'll just go with what's easiest to grab. So the one on top is Promises and Pomegranates by Sav R. Miller. And this is supposed to be a dark romance based on the Hades and Persephone Greek myth. I feel like there are a lot of dark romance books based off of that, but this one really caught my eye. I think it's supposed to be more of a modern take on it, and I recently discovered that I do really enjoy dark romances, so I've been trying to kind of add a few more to my collection so then whenever I actually feel like reading one, I have them on hand. And I've always loved Greek mythology, so hopefully this one is good. And then I bought the Twisted series by Anna Huang. This one is Twisted Love, Twisted Games, Twisted Hate, and Twisted Lies. I think that it's only a 4-book series. I'm not entirely sure though. There honestly could be a 5th book. And I don't know, but these ones were on Book Outlet. They were really cheap. I think I paid probably like $7 a book. And it's supposed to be dark romance as well. Definitely doesn't look like it to me from the cover. To me, it looks more like a summery vibe. But from what I've seen about it on BookTok, I don't think that that's the vibe. Definitely excited to read those, and I feel like I don't read a lot of romance as series, so it'll be interesting to kind of do that. Next, I'll just start a stack in front of me of just a bunch of random stuff. There's thrillers, there's just literary fiction, a slew of genres just in one pile here. So first we have Yellowface by R.F. Kuang. I've been looking for this book in the paperback edition for literal eons, and anytime I go to a bookstore, it's always been sold out, and online it's like $30. So I was always just waiting until the right moment, and I finally found it in a used bookstore for $6.95. I can't wait to read this and see what all of the hype is about. Next, I got The Return by Rachel Harrison. This one is about like a group of friends, and one of them's gone missing and stays missing for like 2 years, and then she returns, but she has no memory of what happened to her in the last 2 years, and she's very different, like acting strange and has like odd appetites and stuff like that. And it sounds like it's going to be really creepy. Then I got The Family Game by Catherine Steadman. This one is supposed to be about a woman who either marries or enters a serious relationship with a man who's in a very rich and powerful family. And she makes a discovery that one of them did something very horrific. And she kind of has to figure out, is it a game? Are they like testing her, or did something really happen? Like, what should she do if she wants to actually join their family? Should she just sweep it under the rug and pretend it never happened, or report it? I feel like I'm describing this wrong, but it sounds really interesting and super creepy. After that, I got The Girls Are Also Nice Here by Lori Elizabeth Flynn. I'm not gonna lie to you, I bought this one solely based off the cover and the fact that it said it was a thriller. I didn't really need to know more, and I don't really want to read the blurb because I don't want to be spoiled. So I'm going to go into this one not knowing anything about it, just that it looks like it's hopefully going to be really good. Next, I got The Drowning Kind by Jennifer McMahon. This one is supposed to be kind of like a creepy, suspenseful horror about a girl who is kind of delving into her family's land's history and ends up drowning. And I think it's her brother, her sister, actually finds out that she died and then also tries to investigate deeper and deeper. And obviously there's something spooky at play here, so I feel like that's going to be a fast-paced kind of page-turning, chilling novel. Then I got The Wife Upstairs by Rachel Hawkins. So I recently finished Jane Eyre, and I think this is supposed to be like a modern reimagining of Jane Eyre. And I'm hoping it kind of heads in the spooky direction that I thought Jane Eyre was going to, because I was a little bit disappointed that Jane Eyre was not as spooky as I had anticipated. But Rachel Hawkins is known for her thrilling books, so fingers crossed this goes the way that I'm hoping it does, and it's gonna be good. Then I got Sisters by Daisy Johnson, and this is another one. I'm not gonna lie to you, I bought it solely based on the cover. It is just so weird. I couldn't not buy it. And I think this one is obviously about sisters, but it's supposed to be kind of like a thriller, and the two sisters are put through things that kind of test their bond and stuff like that. I don't know. It's another one. I don't really want to read the blurb. I did a really bad thing and did a lot of cover buying here, so hopefully I bought like actual good books. Next, I got I'll Be Waiting by Kelly Armstrong, and this one, I'm not gonna lie, I bought because there is a Ouija board chip. What is that called? feel like it starts with a P. Not coming to me right now, but it will eventually. But anyway, the little piece on the Ouija board that you put your hand on, it was giving ghosty vibes, so I bought it. But I think that it's supposed to be kind of like a spooky novel about a woman who sees ghosts or sees a ghost. I'm not entirely sure, but ghosts are always a fun time. Next, I got If We Were Villains by ML Rio. This is a book that I already own on my Kobo, but I bought it because it has sprayed edges. It's stunning. I couldn't help myself. And hopefully it's good. Honestly, I really prefer this cover over the cover that has like the dead bird on the front, because no. Next, I got Such a Pretty Smile by Christy Demeester. And this is supposed to be a book about feminine rage, which love. And I feel like it's supposed to be kind of horror-y too. I mean, it definitely looks horror-y by the cover, but right when I read Feminine Rage, I'm like, oh, sold. Then I got A Very Nice Girl by Imogen Crimp. I'll just quickly read you this tiny little blurb, which is the reason why I ended up buying it, because it sounds super interesting. A bitingly honest, darkly funny debut about ambition, sex, power, and love. A very nice girl cracks open the timeless questions of what it is to be young, what it is to want to be wanted, and what it is to find your calling but lose your way to it. Once again, another feminist piece, and I feel like it's going to be a very interesting read. Then I got Ripe by Sarah Rose Etter, and this is supposed to be a book written in prose about a woman who's going through a lot and struggles a lot with mental illness and just different aspects of her life and her journey to kind of overcome this stuff. I think there's probably like a kind of a darker edge to it as well. Definitely seems like it's going to be a very emotional kind of read. It's written in a very interesting way, that's for sure. There's a page on here. Oh, there it is. That's like numbers, and I was not expecting that at all. But yeah, it's all prose, and it looks like it could be potentially a quick read because of that, but maybe not, because it might be kind of like reading poetry where you have to really think about what you're reading in order to understand it. We'll see. Definitely one that I am really interested in. I am also realizing I bought quite a few books with pomegranates on the cover, which is a little odd. Who doesn't love a good pomegranate, I guess? But speaking of pomegranates, the next one I got is called Sin Eater by Megan Campisi. I'm so sorry if I'm not saying that correctly. But this is a thriller about a 14-year-old who gets caught stealing food, and she is sentenced to become a sin eater. So it is basically someone who has to listen to the final confessions of dying people and eat food that symbolizes their sins and kind of go through the whole ritual of death with them. Definitely sounds like it's going to be like a freaky dystopian kind of read, and I don't know that I've ever read anything like this one. This chapter is called Roast Pigeon. If she has to eat that, that is worse than I anticipated when it said symbolic food. I was kind of thinking like pasta. I don't know. Next, I got Milk Fed by Melissa Broader. I bought this because of the author. I read The Pisces, I want to say like last year or the year before, and it was so weird. I honestly don't know if I loved or hated that book. Like, I really loved it up until it got normal, if that makes sense. Now, don't get me wrong, that book was weird and kooky, but it definitely had meaning to it, and you really have to read between the lines for a lot of it, but if you got it, you got it kind of thing. But I have no idea what this book is about, only that Melissa Broader wrote it, so it's definitely going to be an interesting time. Okay, next, it would not be one of my book hauls if I didn't get at least one copy of Pride and Prejudice, so this one I actually pre-ordered because it is stunning, and it has sprayed edges. And then I also got another edition of something I definitely don't need but wanted badly, and it is this gorgeous 1982 hardcover editions of the Lord of the Rings trilogy. The only thing that's missing with this is the slipcover. I honestly don't care. I was so happy when I found these. I found them in a used bookstore. I'm telling you, if you want stunning old classic books, used bookstores are the way to go. Oh my goodness, you just never know what kind of gems you're gonna find in them. Okay, next I got a stupid amount of Stephen King, but I also got all of these at a used bookstore, and they were dirt cheap, so I couldn't pass it up because I love Stephen King. So I'll just quickly like rapid fire go through these. I won't explain the plot or anything, but first I got If You Like It Darker. I do believe that those ones are short stories. Then I got The Bazaar of Bad Dreams. This one is also collection of short horror stories. And then I got End of Watch and Finders Keepers. These are the second and third books to the Mr. Mercedes trilogy, and I do have the first one, but I never had these ones, so I wanted to get them before I read the first one. Then I got The Mist by Stephen King, classic, obviously. And then I got 11/22/63. This one is definitely outside of my comfort zone, and I'm really nervous about it because it is a chunky monkey. Like, that's a brick. But Everyone always says it's really good, and I really enjoyed Billy Summers, and it's supposed to be kind of like that in the way that it's less horror and more like thrillery action. And I'm hoping that everyone's right and it is just as good as they all say it is, because it is freaking massive. Next, I picked up some Edgar Allan Poe, and this is a bind up of his classic short stories. So I was a Poe hater. I think I've said that in multiple videos. I'll admit it. I was a Poe hater for years of my life because I had to dissect the ever-loving crap out of The Raven, and I swore off Poe for my adult life. I was like, I'm never ever reading Poe ever again. I hate it. And then I ended up actually reading a collection of his poetry last year in October, I think it was. And now I'm a Poe lover. So I needed to get a collection of his short stories because apparently they are just as good as his poetry, and I cannot wait to read them. Then I got Her Body and Other Parties by Carmen Maria Machado. This is supposed to be a bind up of short horror stories about like violence against women, and I think just like horrific things that people do to women's bodies. That's all I really know, and it sounds like it's going to be very disturbing, but it's horror, so really what do you expect? So next I got Last to Leave the Room by Caitlin Starling. This one I think is supposed to be about a woman who opens a door to find her doppelganger on the other side. That just sounds so creepy. And Caitlin Starling is also the author of the book The Death of Jane Lawrence, which I have never read. I keep meaning to, but I just haven't got to it yet. But everybody seems to love that book, so I figured I would give this one a shot. Maybe I'll read this one first, just to see if I like it, and then if I do, I'll commit to The Death of Jane Lawrence. Then I got Ghost Camera by Darcy Coates. And I think this one is exactly how it sounds. Someone finds an old Polaroid camera, snaps a picture, not thinking much about it, and realizes that there's a ghost in the picture. And the horror kind of escalates after that. I also really love the cover of this one. I don't know what it is about it, but it is like super aesthetically pleasing to me. Then I got another one with a super funky cover, and that is honestly why I bought this one, but also because it sounds creepy. And it's called The Grip of It by Jack Jemp. And it is supposed to be about a very spooky, creepy house. I don't want to call it a haunted house because I don't know that it is. And the cover is very creepy, so I'm sure the book itself is going to be even creepier. Then I got Knock Knock Open Wide by Neil Sharpson. And this one is supposed to be horror meets kind of like Celtic myth. And it looks super creepy, especially the little tagline here. It says, "Look inside, it needs you." Okay, maybe next I'll just do my small stack of graphic novels here. So first I got Ruined by Sarah Vaughn, Sarah Winfred Searle, and Nikki Smith. And by looking at the cover, I thought it was going to be a graphic novel that's kind of like Pride and Prejudice era. And I think it's supposed to be, I'll say dirty. I did not know that's what I was buying until I received it, opened it to a random page, and saw nudity, male frontal nudity. I laughed. I showed my boyfriend. He laughed. And I'm not sure how I feel about this book now. It's one that I kind of want to read because it's piqued my curiosity at this point. But yeah, if that one looks interesting by the cover and you're thinking to yourself too, ooh, like a Jane Austen-esque kind of graphic novel, I don't think that's what it is. Next, I got Feeding Ghosts by Tessa Hull. And this one is actually a graphic novel that is a memoir, which sounds super cool to me. I don't think I've ever read a memoir in the form of a graphic novel before. And I really love the art style. It's kind of giving like dark Junji Ito, but not like creepy horror, if that makes sense. Okay, maybe some of it is a little bit creepy, but not Junji Ito level creepy. Then I got Ma by Jude Ellison S. Doyle, A.L. Kaplan, and Fabiana Mascolo. And this one is a horror graphic novel. I'm always looking for more horror because as much as I love Junji Ito, I would also love to branch out, and this one seemed like it was going to be interesting. It is color. It looks gross at some parts. I mean, just that alone looks really cool, honestly, and that's the first page. And it was cheap, so I figured I would give it a shot. Then I got Third Shift Society by Meredith Moriarty, and this just looks like a spooky, fun time that's going to be amazing to read come like Halloween season. I think it's also YA, which is not normally my cup of tea, but when it comes to cutesy spooky, I don't mind it as much. Then I got Specs by David M. Booher, Chris Shahan, and Roman Stevens, and this one is supposed to be a horror about sunglasses. Oh, I guess they're actually X-ray glasses, X-ray sunglasses. Next, I got Punderworld. This is another Hades Persephone retelling, but in the form of a graphic novel. I can't seem to get enough of those, and I've seen this one for a couple of years, so I figured why not? It's about time I give it a shot. And then last for the graphic novels, I got Blackbird by Sam Humphries and Den Bartel, and I always see this one everywhere. It looks so beautiful. Oh, there's a kitty. And I'm not gonna lie, the cover kind of sold me because she looks stunning. The first book on this stack is King of the Forgotten Darkness by Eric Goodwin. I have already read this one. The author actually sent me the ARC I want to say it was like last September-ish area, and I really, really loved it. So I wanted to go ahead and buy myself a copy to have on my shelf. This one is a fantasy that kind of gives the vibes of like Tolkien or Game of Thrones, stuff like that, like action-packed adventure fantasy. I guess that's kind of what I should call it. Really good book though. I really loved it, and fantasy is not always my favorite, especially because I find it can be way too confusing, but this one is not like that at all. So highly recommend it if you're like me and you find fantasy to be kind of daunting. Next, I got Midnight on Beacon Street by Emily Ruth Verona, and this was kind of advertised as an adulty R.L. Stine kind of horror. And I read an R.L. Stine when I was like, I want to say 11, and it was called Beach House. I loved it so much. I can never find that anywhere. I think it was one of his point horror stories. Is that what it was called? Point horror? Something like that. Super good. But anyway, back to Midnight on Beacon Street. This was advertised as something like that, but for adults. Next, I got Alice Knott by Blake Butler, and I got it because of the cover. What a shock, I know. It just looks so cool. And it's supposed to be a mystery. That's all I needed to know. Then I got Annihilation by, I'm gonna say Michael Hovelbeck, but I could be completely wrong. And I'm once again very sorry if I am not pronouncing that correctly. I think this one is supposed to be on the thriller end of literary fiction, and it takes place in 2027, so not that far into the future. Next, I finally got my hands on a cheap copy of Intermezzo by Sally Rooney. I've never read a Sally Rooney before, and I keep ending up with her books, and I don't know why, because one should probably read an author before they buy her entire collection of books, but here we are, and I didn't. It says it's supposed to be an exquisite, moving story about grief, love, and family, but especially love from the global phenomenon, Sally Rooney. Everyone always says they love Sally Rooney so much, so I'm really hoping I'm one of those people too, or else I've wasted so much money on Sally Rooney. Oh my goodness, that's not even funny. Okay, we are down to the last stack, and it looks like it's basically like horror-y, thrillery kind of things. So I'm going to start with this one, For You and Only You by Carolyn Kepnes. I have the first 3 books in the You series. I guess it's not a trilogy anymore. It almost said trilogy. And I saw this one for $7, so I had to get it obviously. $7 for a hardcover book is wild. Next, I got Model Home by Rivers Solomon. This is obviously about a horror house, and it's kind of giving me the vibes of Grady Hendrix, so I thought I would give it a shot just simply for that. It's a very, like, striking book, too. Oh my goodness, like, boom, green. Next, I got The Chill, and I bought this one because it has a blurb by Stephen King on the front cover. I think it's about people who have drowned. Not sure if they're zombies or ghosts or what, but it sounds creepy, sounds gross, sounds like I'm gonna probably really like it, so I bought it. Then I got 2 books by Otessa Moshfa. I don't think I'm saying that correctly, but I got Lapvona and McGlue. So McGlue, I think, is supposed to be about a person who is not sure if they killed a man or not, and he has to try to kind of remember if he did it or not. I think he's in prison too while all of this is happening. And then Lapvona, I have no idea what this is about. I just know that everyone says that it's good, and I was like kind of trying to decide between this one and My Year of Rest and Relaxation, and the cover spoke to me more on this one, so that's the one that I went with. Next, I got Graveyard Shift by M.L. Rio, so this one is, I think, like a short modern gothic story, and that's all I really needed to know because that cover is really cool. Next, I got Woman Eating by Claire Coda, and this is about a vampire, and not like your Twilight super sexy sparkly vampire, but like your original terrifying vampire. I'll read you the little blurb because it sounds super interesting. A young mixed-race vampire must find a way to balance her deep-seated desire to live among humans with her incessant hunger in this stunning debut novel from a writer to watch. I literally cannot wait to read this one. Next, I got Pink Slime by Fernanda Trias, and this one is translated by Heather Cleary. This one sounds super interesting, but I'll just read you the blurb because I don't know how to describe it myself. So it says, in a city ravaged by a mysterious plague, a woman tries to understand why her world is falling apart. An algae bloom has poisoned the previously pristine air that blows in from the sea. In the short, desperate breaks between deadly windstorms, our narrator stubbornly tends to her few remaining relationships, with her difficult but vulnerable mother, with the ex-husband for whom she still harbors feelings, and with the boy she nannies, whose parents sent him away even as terrible threats loomed. Yet as conditions outside deteriorate further, her commitment to remaining in place only grows, even if staying means being left behind. I'm not really sure if this is supposed to be a horror or kind of an existential piece or what, but it's definitely intriguing and I can't wait to read it as well. Also, the cover, very interesting. And the next two books I got both also have very interesting covers. So the first one is Mayfly and the second one is American Rapture, both by CJ Lead. So I do believe that these are kind of more on the splatterpunk end of horror, which is not normally my vibe, but occasionally I don't mind icky stuff as long as it's not so icky that it makes me want to vomit. So I'm pretty sure Mayfly is about a female serial killer, and I'll just take a second so you can appreciate how disgusting this cover looks. And then I believe that this one is supposed to be about an apocalypse happening in America. Things get horrific, I guess. Honestly, the front cover is kind of giving culty vibes, and I do enjoy that. And now we are finally on to the last book. I'm so sorry this video is like a year long, but we're finally here. It's called We Had to Remove This Post by Hannah. So originally I got interested in this because the cover caught my eye. Ooh, Awen. Anyway, the cover caught my eye and I just had to know more about it. And I guess it's actually about people who monitor things on the internet and see some really messed up. Awen just knocked over a stack of books, but everyone's okay. You have a ladybug on you. Yes, you're okay, right? What was I saying? People who moderate stuff on the internet and see some pretty messed up things. And I guess it has like a moral question behind it too, like what's right, what's wrong, who kind of gets to decide what's even on the internet. I don't know. It sounds like it might be disgusting. But it also could be very interesting, so I'm going to give it a chance. Just the size of it though is kind of giving me nasty vibes because normally splatterpunk is not very long. So I don't know. We'll see. That one is definitely kind of intimidating, but the size of it makes it a little bit easier. But we're finally at the end. That is it. Definitely a very wide variety of books, and I can't wait to read any of them. I also really need to stop buying books. With that, I think I'm going to leave this video here. I hope you have a great rest of your week and happy reading.